at the moment. The government have no plans. They are simply not even business as usual, but rather accelerating towards this enormous catastrophe for the human species and for many other species on the planet. Would you be willing to say anything to the camera?
Yeah, who am I talking to?
This is going out on XR Media, Totnes and area at the moment, but I will share as widely as I can.
Yeah, we're here. I'm here representing Scientists for Extinction Rebellion. We have a declaration which I'm holding here, which has now been signed by more than 1,300 top-level scientists across the globe, who are now saying that we've been raising the alarm about this for 40 years and it hasn't made any difference. So now we're having to take to the streets and we're having to take non-violent direct action to draw attention to the climate and ecological emergency and to make sure that governments act now. We have to bring global greenhouse gas emissions down to net zero, really not 2050, not even 2025, but right now we have to halt biodiversity loss, else we'll be heading for catastrophe and irreversible changes to our planet. And this declaration, like I said, has been supported now by 1,300 and rising scientists across the globe who are experts in fields relating to the climate and ecological emergency. And we're coming out of our labs and we're saying action needs to be taken. No one has listened to us. The only thing we have left to do is now take to the streets.
Right, thank you. And the scientists for a long time just kept on telling people and no action was taken by anybody. So how bad is it really? Is it worse than the IPCC report and the IPBES report?
Yeah, so the IPCC and the IPBES report say it all, which is that we're heading for climate catastrophe unless we make changes. The problem is that things continue to get worse, not just in terms of our emissions, but we keep hitting more and more feedback loops and more situations where climate models are actually being overtaken and are happening far faster than climate scientists and ecological specialists have been aware would happen. The models can only tell us so much, but every single day that goes by we're actually getting worse and worse, and the IPCC predictions are only based on the models as they were at that point, and actually we're getting further and further into worse and worse situation. The IPCC itself tells us that if we bring emissions down to net zero by 2050, that we only have a 50-50 chance of staying beneath 1.5 degrees warming, which has been agreed by the Paris Agreement, is absolutely essential. Right now, on the emissions path we are now on, we're heading towards 4 degrees warming by the end of the century, and there are several top climate scientists, professors of climate research, who say that at that temperature there's going to be catastrophic impacts on our planet, and it's difficult to see how more than even 1 billion people on this planet could survive such a extreme weather situation, with crops failing, with lack of clean water, with air pollution, with extreme weather that is damaging people, that is damaging homes, that will damage the land. We're ruining our land, we're ruining our seas, we're ruining our air, and this is not just sort of inflammatory, sensationalist, scaremongering stuff that's been decided by Extinction Rebellion. This is backed up by peer-reviewed, evidence-based science. It is absolutely unequivocal that this is what's going on.
Would you mind me asking you, I mean, scientists are trained to be objective and try to keep their personal feelings, but this must have an enormous impact on you personally. How are you feeling?
So since I started looking into the science, my background is I have a PhD in molecular biology. I'm Dr. Emily Grossman, by the way, one of the scientists for Extinction Rebellion. My background is I have a PhD in molecular biology, but for the last sort of 10 years I've been working as a science communicator. So my job is to research areas of science and to find out the truth and to report it to the public. So I only actually started looking into climate science in April after the rebellion, simply because it's not really widely known. And I came along to the rebellion in April just thinking, what is all this? Why is everybody shouting about this? Surely it can't be that bad. Surely we would know about it if it was that bad. And someone like myself, who's heavily involved in science, surely I would know that it was this bad. So I just thought, well, yeah, these are a load of fanatics on the street. I support them in principle, but it can't really be that awful. So since then, I've kind of immersed myself in climate science. I've been meeting with and talking with top climate scientists across the world, specialists in biodiversity and land loss and ecology. And I've been trying to get to the bottom of, all these sort of conflicting studies and the skeptics who say, oh, it's not true, and this and that and the other. And I can honestly say that since then I've barely had a good night's sleep, because the situation is so much worse and is so real and is so backed up by more than 99% of studies and climate scientists across the globe. It's now unequivocal, and what's awful and horrifying is where we're heading towards, but what's even more horrifying to someone like me to discover is that we've not been told, and I'm sure everybody feels the same, that how is it that we don't know? How is it that the media aren't telling us this? How is it that the government aren't telling us the truth? And how is it that we've been left as scientists, as a group of scientists now which is growing and expanding across the world, how is it that we've been left to come out of our laboratories, to come out of our research institutions, come out of places where we've been promised that if we're impartial, as you say, if we simply report the facts, we've been guaranteed as scientists that we will be listened to, and that the facts will be acted upon as if they are real and true, which they are, and that the action will be taken. But this has been proven over 40 years, again and again and again, despite our best warnings. This has been proven to not be the case. So as human beings, not as scientists, we now feel that, and when I speak, I represent these 1,300 scientists and counting who've signed our declaration, that as human beings we now feel we have a moral obligation to actually come out of our labs, to get onto the streets. These are people who very rarely want to step out from behind our laboratory desks and behind our kind of like institutions, because we've been told not to, because that is the role of science, is not to do that. But now we are left with no choice, because simply no one has listened. And even if the public are now listening, the government needs to listen and actually take action and report faithfully on the extent and the severity of the emergency, the fact that any day, any week, any month now, we could enter feedback loops that lock us in to warming that will just get more and more, sea level will rise more and more crops will be lost, more and more land will be lost, we'll enter situations of riots, civil unrest, famine, drought, not enough food on the tables in our own country, people dying of air pollution. And once we're locked into a system like that, it can only get worse, and we're going to get to a point where it's irreversible and we can't go back. We do still have time, that's the thing, we do have time. We've got 8 years left, 8.5 years, to burn up the rest of the carbon budget that we have left globally before we're heading towards more than 1.5 degrees, which would be catastrophic. So we have to do something now, we have to do it radically. And yes, it's going to be difficult. Yes, there's going to be huge changes that need to be made. So yes, we really do need to seek public support. We do really need to persuade people, convince people that this science is actually truth, because it is. And there are lots of voices out there who are skeptics saying, look at this study, look at that study. But really, the peer-reviewed, evidence-based science, over 99% of it supports the fact that this is real, this is an emergency, and we have to act now.
Thank you so much. Do you mind just giving your name again?
Yeah, of course. I'm Dr. Emily Grossman. You can follow our group, Scientists for Extinction Rebellion. We have a Facebook page, Scientists for Extinction Rebellion. We have a group for scientists as well, and you can follow us on Twitter at ScientistsX. That's at ScientistsX. If you want to get in touch with any of us, or you want to get in touch with me, I'm Dr. Emily Grossman. You can find me on social media or through my website.
Thank you so much.